problems with their water, and my water started getting cloudy, and then it started feeling oily.
How was it instantaneous from the drilling? I mean, did it happen
Yeah,
like the next day, or the?
No, not really the next day. They drilled, I think, in April. My water was cloudy on and off, like right after, but it would cloud up and it would clear up. So, and at that point, I'm thinking, okay, well, they're stirring up the water. The water's going to get better.
Yeah.
And it didn't get better. It just had some oily texture, and then my neighbors, three of them, I'm not sure if it was before we had our water test with DEP, but I think it was, they all had to pull their well pumps up and replace them. 3 neighbors in a row. So.
Was that clogged or they were?
Yeah, from all the sludge and crap and everything. I didn't, but we got the DEP. My one neighbor said she, was calling DEP, and they were going to come and test our water. So they tested theirs, they tested mine, and at that point my water was looking clear. But the test result came back that I had 4,000 UG per liter of barium, which the DEP shuts off, doesn't allow after 2,000 UGs per liter of barium. And they told me, they said, your barium level is extremely high. We're thinking about retesting it, because none of my other neighbors, they didn't have the barium at that point. The 2 neighbors that tested with me, they didn't have any high levels of barium or anything.
Right.
So I was the only one that was exorbitantly high. So, but they said we can't say that it's due to the drilling. The contaminated,
But it
degradation.
clearly is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So why did you have more barium than your neighbours?
Well, it's, you have to be a geologist to understand that, because come find out, that was 2008, come 2010, and I feel really bad because I thought maybe I just was the one. Well, one of my neighbors down the road, she's probably the same distance away from the well in a different direction, and had the same levels of barium, strontium, manganese. We almost had the exact same water test results. So if you have a fault line, or basically how the water runs, and one neighbor had really high methane. Another neighbor, her filter was just orange. They had to start changing the filter every 2 weeks when they used to change it every 6 months, and it was orange. Another neighbor has black rock coming out of a shower, like granule black, and the water looks black. So everybody has something different, but it all happened after they drilled the well. And all my neighbors, and at this point, since 2008, 6 well pumps have been replaced, a couple of washers, I think 3 washers. My neighbor over here that she's not in the lawsuit or anything, she had her washer replaced because of all the clogging in the parts. It's just been a nightmare for everybody. And we can never trust can't trust it. My water, I've had it tested, I think 6 times, maybe more now, and the barium level hasn't gone down.
So what do you do for water then?
I'm blessed to have a spring, and when the DEP came in, they tested my well and they tested my spring, and my spring water tested good. Okay. It didn't have any of it. It's just basically groundwater instead of that deep well water.
Sure.
And I think that's the case from what I understand from the people I talk to. The spring water is not usually a problem. Mm-hmm. But then that you worry about, and it costs $800 for every water test that you get. So how, I'm going to keep drinking that spring water. How do I know how long that spring water is going to be good?
Yeah.
I did luckily have another test. Duke University came in and tested again, and it still came up good. So I'm feeling a lot more confident in it. But I don't know. And that's what you live with. And I'm still showering with barium.
Yeah.
And I'm washing clothes and washing dishes. nobody drinks, we don't cook with it or anything, but you're still,
Yeah.
you know, the pores of your skin are still absorbing that barium.
Have you had any health issues with?
I haven't had any health issues at this point. And then when I talked to Dr. Sabiri, she's a doctor from the University of Pennsylvania, I think. She said, you know, of course there's no studies on people showering barium for 20 years.
Yeah, really.
So she said that most generally is absorbed into the bone.
Right.
And if I had children here, if I had any young people, there would be no showering with that water.
Right.
But I'm just hoping and praying at 50 that if the barium gets into my bones, it's going to be, you know, kill me when I'm 70 or 80.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
You know, that's what you live with. It's a nightmare. It's something that you learn to live with, and I live day by day, and I enjoy my, you know, my work and my hobbies and my animals, and learn to live with it. But it's that, you know, underlying. I mean, my property value is shot. I can't sell it for anything because it's, you know, totally contaminated the water.
So how has this episode shaken your faith in the rule of law, or you know, or what you would expect from your government or from your representatives?
I mean, you can't even. Oh my goodness, the governor. I mean, it's a political. You know, I don't want to get me in on the political corruption. You know, the governor that came in, came in, and I mean, they're coming in, everybody's getting paid off, and it's full force. Get these in, we gotta get these wells drilled before all the people start knowing exactly what the real story is. And get them in, get out of there, and then they're gonna make their millions, and you're gonna leave a wasteland here. You know, I mean, I have absolutely no faith in my government. I like my president. I like President Obama. But I just don't feel like there's any control left. The government has no control of anything. There's too much money going into too many people's pockets. The corruption is going right down to the local township supervisor.
But the people who are paying the price just get bad water and that's it.
Yeah. It's getting really, really just so out of control with politics and government. And
how do you see it proceeding from here? Do you think it's going to come to it? I was talking with Frank yesterday, like things come to a tipping point eventually where everyone's had enough.
Yeah.
Do you see that happening, or do you see that?
No, and you know what my fear is for your people too, is that the greed, even, I mean, unfortunately, and I know for a fact that if I knew what was happening, I'm not a greedy person. I give most of my money away. I give it to the charities, to the animal shelters. I don't live for money, and when I make the money, it's like, yeah, I live on the edge, you know?
Yeah.
So I know that I wouldn't be doing this for greed. But I'm afraid to say that your neighbors, everybody, they see them dollar signs, and they just want to block out what is really going to happen to the environment and to you know, it should be, you are your neighbor.
Yeah.
But you're not your neighbor for most of these people.
So that's
and a lot of these people are getting paid off. You know, their water's bad, but they're getting paid off, so they're not speaking out.
And that's divisive in the community?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we don't really talk about it. It's not like we got Hatfields and McCoys going on here, but yeah, I had one of my distant relatives tell me, look me right in the face and say, I don't believe it. I'm saying my water's bad, well, I don't believe it. Well, she doesn't believe that it was due to the drilling probably, or, I mean, it's just, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny to be able to people still think that it's not, you know, this is not caused by fracking, it's just a coincidence and so on.
Yeah. Yeah, and they want that money in their pockets, and some people don't care. Well, I'll sell my property and I'll move if I make all that money. You know, so I'm afraid that that's where it's going. It's too late here for this area. But for me to speak to you and to speak to Australian people, or to speak to New York, Canada, I spoke to them, and it's just a matter of, you know, it's the greed or the environment.
Yeah.
Money in the pocket, or if you need it. And these people are so good. These gas industry sweet talkers are so good at convincing people that they're not doing anything wrong. I mean, we're being bombarded by propaganda in our local newspapers, and of course with them giving money to charities and stuff.
Yeah.
The most ironic part, down in Wilkes-Barre they had a river cleanup, some kind of big party, and they actually had slapped stickers of one of the big gas industry companies was supporting the river cleanup. It's like the little kids brought home stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, you know.
It's Orwellian, isn't it?
It is.
It's like a George Orwell novel.
It is. Honestly, it is. It's beyond mind-boggling what we're living right now. It really is. It is what you said. Yep.
Okay. Well, that's probably plenty for my sound slide.
Got my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I'm just thinking for pictures, I wanted to